Abandoned and forgotten, this dog was left to fend for itself on the unforgiving streets. Once, it had a home, perhaps a family that promised love, but now, it's nothing more than a shadow, searching for scraps, longing for care. Alone in this vast, busy world, the dog knows no comfort, only the harsh reality of survival. But today, something extraordinary is about to happen. Little did anyone know, the most unlikely hero was about to make a choice, one that would change everything. A decision that would bring together a creature once abandoned and a baby unaware of the danger lurking just ahead. Nobody could have predicted how one dog's reaction would save a life and leave everyone in utter shock. The dog moves slowly through the streets, its ribs showing beneath its thin fur, eyes scanning the area for any sign of food. It's been days, maybe weeks, since it last ate anything of substance. The dog pauses by a trash can, sniffing around, hoping for a morsel, but it finds nothing. With a soft sigh, it moves on, its paws dragging on the rough pavement. People walk by, oblivious to its presence, lost in their own worlds. The dog watches them, its tail flicking slightly, a silent plea in its eyes. But no one notices. It passes a cafe, the smell of fresh coffee and baked goods drifting through the air, but the dog keeps walking. Hunger gnaws at its stomach, but there's no time to linger. There's no one to help, no one to offer a kind word. The dog has learned to survive on its own. As it walks, its gaze catches something in the distance, a stroller parked just outside a store, the baby inside it cooing softly, completely unaware of the world around it. The dog's ears perk up, its attention now fully focused on the stroller. Its eyes narrow, and for a brief moment, it seems to hesitate, uncertain of what to do. But then, instinct kicks in. The dog starts moving toward the stroller, its steps quickening, a sense of urgency in its movements. It's drawn to the baby, a strange connection forming in that brief instant. As it gets closer, the dog stops, standing at a distance, watching. Something isn't right. The stroller begins to shift, moving ever so slightly. The dog's posture stiffens, and it lets out a low bark, its gaze locked on the stroller. It knows danger is near. The dog's instincts are sharp, but this time, they feel different. This time, they're not just about survival. This time, they're about protecting something. The stroller, once still, begins to roll ever so slightly, inching toward the edge of the sidewalk. The baby inside it giggles, unaware of the danger. The stroller moves faster now, picking up speed as it drifts closer to the street. A car rounds the corner, its engine roaring in the distance, oblivious to the stroller heading straight for it. The dog's eyes widen as it watches the stroller. Time seems to slow. It barks again, more urgently this time, but the sound is drowned out by the noise of the passing traffic. The stroller continues its path toward the street, and the dog can feel its heart race. Every fiber of its being urges it to act, to do something, anything. In a burst of energy, the dog races forward, its legs carrying it faster than it's ever run before. It's no longer just a stray. It's a protector. The stroller rolls closer to the curb, the wheels spinning with alarming speed, and the car, unaware of the impending danger, barrels closer. With a final, desperate leap, the dog reaches the stroller just in time. It crashes into the side, its body slamming into the stroller with enough force to stop its movement. The dog's paws push against the stroller, its weight halting it mere inches from the road. The dog pants heavily, its body trembling with adrenaline, but it stands firm, not moving an inch. The car speeds past, just a hair's breadth away from the stroller. The dog, still protecting the baby, looks up at the vehicle's rearview mirror, its chest rising and falling in quick succession. The immediate danger has passed, but the tension in the air is palpable. As the dog lowers its head, its eyes meet the baby's innocent gaze, still unaware of how close it came to harm. The dog stays by the stroller, watching over it, its protective instincts fully awakened. People begin to gather, drawn by the sound of the dog's barks and the sight of the stroller stopped in its tracks. One woman, her hands trembling, approaches the scene, her eyes wide with disbelief. She looks at the dog, then at the baby, and a wave of relief washes over her. She bends down, gently pulling the stroller away from the curb, taking a moment to ensure the baby is safe. "Are you okay?" she whispers, though the baby is still blissfully unaware of the danger it had just narrowly escaped. The woman looks up, her gaze landing on the dog, still standing protectively by the stroller. The dog's fur is matted, its eyes tired, but there's something heroic in the way it holds itself. The woman's voice cracks slightly as she murmurs, "You saved that baby." Nearby, others are talking in hushed tones, their astonishment clear in their voices. "Did you see that? That dog. It knew." One person steps forward, crouching down to reach the dog. The dog's eyes shift towards them, a mix of wariness and exhaustion, but something shifts in its gaze. There's no hostility, just an understanding. This person isn't a threat. Slowly, the stranger offers a hand, fingers trembling as they reach for the dog's head. The dog, still panting, sniffs the hand briefly before allowing the touch. A man steps forward, more confident now, his voice gentle. "Hey there, buddy. You're a good dog." The dog looks up at him, its tail giving a slight wag, though it's still unsure. The woman, who had been standing with the stroller, looks at the man and nods. "We should take him to the shelter. He deserves better than this." The man nods in agreement, reaching for his phone to make a call. But before they can make any arrangements, the dog looks at the stroller one last time. Its eyes soften, and it takes a step back, as if acknowledging that its job is done. The baby is safe now. The dog slowly turns, walking toward the group of people, ready for the next chapter of its life. The shelter is just a few blocks away. Within an hour, the dog is in the care of the kind woman, who holds it close as they drive to its new home, a place where it will never have to be alone again. The dog's eyes close as it relaxes into her warmth, comforted by the promise of a future full of care and love. It had found its place in the world once more. As the dog is gently led into the shelter, it looks around with wide eyes, still unsure of its new surroundings. The unfamiliar scent of other animals fills the air, but there's something different here, a sense of safety. The woman who rescued the dog kneels down beside it, offering a comforting smile as she runs her hand along its back. "You're safe now," she whispers softly, her voice warm and reassuring. The dog looks up at her, its eyes slowly softening, as if finally realizing it's no longer alone in the world. The shelter staff notice the dog's gentle demeanor and take immediate action to get it checked out. The dog is given a bath, its fur now beginning to show signs of life as it's cleaned up. The once matted coat now shines with a glimmer of health, and the dog seems to stand a little taller, its tail wagging tentatively for the first time in a long while. Days go by, and the dog grows more comfortable in its new home. It begins to bond with the other animals, its shy nature giving way to moments of play and joy. People come in and out of the shelter, stopping to pet the dog, each interaction a small step toward healing. But what catches everyone's attention is the dog's protective nature. It watches over the other animals with a quiet strength, always keeping a careful eye on anyone who seems vulnerable. Then, one morning, a family comes into the shelter looking for a dog to adopt. They pass by the cages, stopping at several before they find themselves drawn to the dog that had once been abandoned. The family's young daughter, holding a stuffed animal tightly in her arms, steps forward. She looks at the dog with wide eyes and reaches her hand through the bars of the kennel. The dog, cautious at first, steps closer, sniffing her hand gently before giving it a soft nudge with its nose. The family smiles, recognizing the connection almost immediately. "This is the one," the father says, his voice filled with certainty. The mother nods, her eyes bright with emotion. "He's perfect." And just like that, the dog's life takes another turn. No longer a stray, no longer abandoned. It has found its forever family. The family drives the dog home, the child in the back seat, gently stroking the dog's head as it lies beside her. The dog looks out the window, its eyes finally at peace. It's no longer the lonely, abandoned creature it once was. Now it has a family, a purpose, and a home full of love. Back at the shelter, the staff watches the car pull away, knowing they've been a part of something special. The dog was no longer just a survivor of the streets. It had become a hero that found its own second chance. This abandoned dog, once lost and forgotten, found something extraordinary: purpose, courage, and the power of unconditional love. Through a simple act of bravery, it not only saved a life, but also found its own. From the streets to a forever home, this dog's journey reminds us that sometimes the most unlikely heroes are the ones who have the strength to love and protect, even when they've been given nothing in return. Life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. A dog that was once alone and discarded is now cherished, safe, and part of a family that will never abandon it again. And through that bond, the dog teaches us that no matter how hard life gets, there's always hope. There's always a chance for a fresh start. If you believe in second chances, if you believe in the power of compassion and courage, hit that like button, subscribe for more heartwarming stories, and share this video to inspire others. Together, we can make the world a kinder place, one story at a time. As this dog lies contentedly beside its new family, we're reminded that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they have fur and four paws, and they show us what true love and loyalty really mean. The screen fades to black as the soft sound of a dog's gentle breathing is heard, symbolizing peace and new beginnings. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. End screen with the channel logo, a subscribe button, and links to related videos about heartwarming animal rescues and inspirational stories.